the illusion of reality and self-identification. Anything you pour your attention and mental energy into is perceived as real. The core of suffering lies in excessive identification with what is transient. This inordinate interest leads to self-identification, where the mind becomes fixed on ideas and desires, creating a rut of habits and beliefs. Desire, in this perspective, is merely the mind's fixation on an idea, not an inherent need of the self. The key to freedom is simply to withdraw attention from the object of desire. By shifting the mind away from these attachments, you begin to dismantle the world of pains and pleasures that your own mind, driven by desire, has produced. The transient nature of experience. Pain and pleasure are ephemeral, like peaks and valleys on the surface of the ocean of life. Before the pain arose, you already were. After it ceases, you will continue to be. The essential being is timeless and immutable, while the experience of pain is transient. At the bottom of this ocean resides an absolute fullness, immune to the surface fluctuations. To achieve lasting peace and tranquility, the focus must be moved from what is temporary to what is eternal and motionless. The essential practice, viveka and vairagya. Your fundamental task on the spiritual path sadhana is to cultivate and apply the two twin virtues, viveka discernment, the ability to distinguish the real from the unreal, the permanent from the impermanent, the true from the false, vairagya detachment or renunciation, the abandonment or rejection of that which has been discerned as unreal or false. Truth cannot simply be affirmed. It reveals itself through the negation of the false. You must see the false as false viveka and rejected vairagya. This renunciation of the unreal is inherently liberating and energizing, paving the way for self-realization. Criteria for the real and the unreal. The real is pure, untarnished, and independent. The unreal is corrupted, confused, dependent, and, crucially, transient. Transience, the fact that something is subject to time and, therefore, to a beginning and an end, is the greatest proof of unreality. Whatever appears must disappear. The duration of the appearance is relative, but the principle is absolute. What is subject to time is, by nature, not real. By understanding that the false needs time to exist and that what needs time is false, you draw closer to timeless reality. Constant investigation and maturation. The practice sadhana demands incessant investigation. You must examine everything closely and discard the unnecessary or unreal with passion. Be passionately dispassionate. Investigate the very nature of illusion maya. It naturally dissolves when investigated. Find the constant fact of the changeless behind all ephemeral experiences, the changing. In the present moment, you experience yourself as the union of the mutable, the body, mind, emotions, and the immobile, the self. Consciousness. The error of ignorance is to focus solely on the mutable. The path is to turn the mind inward, disregard what changes, and discover the immutable reality, an ever-present, inexpressible, but rock-solid presence. While a few mature instantly, the majority require a period of ripening. Consistent spiritual practice sadhana is the accelerator for this maturation. Initially, the immutable may seem empty or unsatisfying to the mind, which craves variety. However, when the mind becomes satiated with change and yearns for the immutable, the individual is ready to turn toward what transcends mental description, realizing the source. Timeless reality is the motionless background upon which all movement, the succession of transient moments that creates the illusion of time occurs. You must carefully observe what comes and what goes, and discover where they come from and where they go. Just as a wave returns to the ocean, every moment of existence regresses to its source. Realization consists of discovering that source, the self, and abiding there. When you find this motionless background within yourself, you discover that you have never lost your state of independent being, free from all divisions and separations. Taking the phenomenal world as the only reality is fundamental ignorance, avidya, and the basic cause of all affliction. To know your own self as the sole reality, Brahman, and everything else as temporal and transient, is freedom, moksha, peace, and absolute joy. Clinging to this knowledge is true meditation, nididhyasana, that will lead to the discovery of the timeless reality behind everything.